In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we repainted this church parking lot from start to finish after it was seal coated. I want to talk about how we snap chalk lines to make sure that this bank of parking stalls are lined up perfectly and the result of laying out the lot properly. I'll show us applying the lines from a number of views, as well as us installing other pavement marking features like new arrows, handicap stencils, and access stalls, and my personal favorite, fire lane curbs. So let's get into it. We also do paving, excavating, sweeping, seal coating, and a number of other pavement maintenance tasks, but today we will be talking about striping. I'll post more of those other videos here shortly, but for now, we stripe. So the nice thing about striping after a seal coat application is that the pavement surface is clean, smooth, and ready to go. If we were doing just a normal restripe, the surface usually is rough, dirty, and a bunch of prep has to go into getting the surface ready to accept paint. But after seal coat, we can just show up, start laying out paint, and start painting. With seal coat, the challenge is knowing the previous layout of the stripes, and we're usually able to see the previous line, like the outline of the line through the seal coat. If it's too thick though, or if the lines are really faded, we won't be able to. But right here you can see that there's a line right there, there's a line right there, but it can be tough to see. Sometimes we'll even look it up on a satellite view to help us out.
There we go. Yeah, it's just a straight arrow.
Once we know the layout, we then come up with a game plan of which stall bank to do first, and then second, and then kind of an order of operations. Once we got that nailed down, we start snapping lines. Using a construction grade chalk line really helps us lay down a thick chalk line that our stripers are able to see from their buggies while they're painting. Usually he does this with another striper, but since I was there filming, I helped him out. We then move bank to bank, just painting them one at a time, and I think he usually goes from right to left just based on the buggy. Actually, I think he does both ways. It doesn't really matter. But it does matter when you are painting access stalls. As you can see in this video right here, he has to go in a certain direction so his wheels don't hit or don't run over the paint that he just laid down. So you kind of have to go in and then out and then I guess hit the end of it. So there definitely is a strategy to it, but when you're in the wide open just doing banks, it's not that big of a deal. So once you hit all the banks in the entire parking lot, you then move on to more exciting things like stencils and arrows. And on this particular lot, I believe they wanted a few extra arrows laid down because for whatever reason traffic wasn't flowing the right way. And so we also have to lay these out. You can kind of do it by eye and kind of do it by sight. Once again, it's not a perfect science, so best to get out the measuring tape and find your center of the drive lane and lay down your arrow. We then installed the ADA stencil, and a lot of people will be used to seeing a blue square behind the stencil. It's kind of like the backer. We call it a blue back, and this is perfectly legal, but also just applying the stencil is as well, at least here in Oregon. Also, I made a viral video that got like 15 million views of us applying a blue back, which I'll link that right here. You can go check that out. Super fun. But yeah, so we typically just replace whatever markings were there before. So if it was just a stencil, we're going to do just a stencil again. If it was a blue back and a stencil, we'll do a blue back and a stencil. So we did this, and we use a stencil. Some people freehand this, but once again, freehand it's going to be inconsistent even if you're really good. We prefer consistency, so we use a stencil. And then the last thing to do on this lot is to paint the fire lane curb. As you can see, this is a super faded curb. It's pretty much pink at this point, and we wanted it to be bright red. And we typically tape off the curb or the corners, like the radiuses, and in tough to reach areas. But on the straightaways, our stripers can kind of just get on their line and go. It's tough though because the straightaways and these curbs are right up against sidewalks, and if you spray any red paint onto that concrete, it's gonna be pretty obvious where you messed up. So this definitely takes some practice, some patience, and just really good execution. So anyway, taping off is always a good way to go, just to be careful. It helps you just get that really crisp look. After we finish painting all the red curbs on the property, we have to let it dry before applying our no parking fire lane stencils. We've got a bunch of stencils. Some of them say no parking, some of them say fire lane, and we put them in alternating order about every 20 feet or so. And once they're laid out, Adam can just zip around on his little buggy and just hit all of these. And it's pretty quick. Once you get these stencils down, it can go. But you can see we only just did one coat because it doesn't have much traffic on it. A single coat's going to last quite a while. And yeah, not too much wear and tear. So that is it. That is how it's done. Let us know if you're in the Portland area and have pavement that needs maintenance. We are here to help you. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.